I should have known something was wrong the second we pulled into that gas station. It was around 9 p.m., and the sky had already sunk into that deep indigo hue, the kind that makes gas station lights look extra harsh and unforgiving. The flickering sign above the awning buzzed like a wasp, and the entire place smelled like burnt coffee and engine oil. But I wasn't paying attention to any of that. I was still recovering from the fight we had 10 minutes earlier in the car. "You always do this," he had snapped, hands clenched tight on the steering wheel. "You act like I'm the bad guy just because I won't laugh at your dumb stories in front of my friends." I stared at the dashboard, blinking fast, trying to keep my voice from shaking. "I wasn't trying to embarrass you, Derek. I was just talking." "Yeah, well, maybe talk less." His voice had been cold, flat. "You don't always have to make everything about you." Those words had stung more than I let on. I'd heard them before, or some version of them. In little doses, slipped into arguments and disagreements, always after I tried to explain how something made me feel. How his constant dismissals, his passive-aggressive comments, his habit of interrupting me in front of people, all of it chipped away at me like water eroding stone. Still, I bit my tongue. Like I always did. So when he pulled into that lonely gas station in the middle of nowhere and said, "I need a minute," I didn't argue. I just unbuckled my seatbelt, quietly stepped out of the car, and walked into the fluorescent-lit store to grab a bottle of water and breathe for a second. That was my mistake. The moment I came back outside, maybe 5-6 minutes later, the car was gone. At first, I just stood there, blinking stupidly at the empty spot where our silver Camry had been. I turned in a slow circle, like maybe he had moved it around the back of the building, or maybe parked it by one of the diesel pumps. But there was nothing. No sign of headlights down the stretch of road. No text. No missed call. Nothing. I felt my stomach drop, the way it does when you miss a step on the stairs in the dark. My first instinct was denial. Maybe he was playing some twisted joke. Maybe he was angry, sure, but not that angry. I pulled out my phone, fingers trembling, and opened our message thread. "Me? Where did you go?" "Me. Derek, this isn't funny, me. Please tell me you're coming back." I watched the little gray delivered checkmarks appear under each message. No reply. Minutes ticked by. 10. 15. My bottle of water, forgotten, slipped from my grip and rolled across the concrete. It hit me then, really hit me. He'd left me. We were an hour outside the city. My phone was at 12%. I had no charger. No jacket. Just a flimsy hoodie and yoga pants, and my pride slowly crumbling with every second that passed. I walked back into the gas station, the bell above the door jingling like some cruel punchline. The cashier, a bored-looking guy in his 20s with a mop of greasy hair, barely glanced up from his phone. "Pump or snacks?" he asked. My boyfriend just left me here," I said, hating how pathetic the words sounded out loud. He finally looked up, eyebrows furrowing. Like, left. I nodded, swallowing the lump rising in my throat. "Yeah." He stared at me for a second, then gestured toward the side of the counter. "Payphone's over there. But it's broken half the time. You need a ride or something." I hesitated. Who would I even call? My parents lived 5 states away. Most of my friends thought Derek was a saint. They had no idea what he was really like when it was just the two of us. And I wasn't ready to explain all this. Not yet. "No," I mumbled. "I'll figure it out." He shrugged. "Suit yourself." I stepped outside again, the night colder now, sharper somehow. The hum of insects and distant highway noise surrounded me. I looked up at the sky, trying to hold it together, but something inside me cracked. This wasn't just about tonight. This was about every night he'd made me feel small. Every dinner where he cut me off mid-sentence. Every time he sighed dramatically when I wanted to talk about my day. Every moment he reminded me, subtly, cruelly, that he was doing me a favor by being with me. I sank onto the curb near the air pump station, wrapping my arms around myself. My phone buzzed in my lap. A message. "Derek, you shouldn't have talked back to me in front of Jason and them. You made me look stupid." I needed to cool off. "I'll think about coming back if you calm down." That was it. No apology. No concern. Just blame. Like I was a child being punished. And the worst part? A small, broken part of me still hoped he would come back. That I wouldn't be left there overnight, stranded and humiliated, just because I dared to have an opinion in front of his friends. I stared at the screen, my fingers frozen over the keyboard. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. I stayed there for what felt like hours, though it couldn't have been more than 30 minutes. The street was quiet, unnervingly so, and the occasional car that passed didn't even slow down. I kept thinking, maybe he's circling around. Maybe he's testing me, trying to see if I'll apologize first. That would be so like him. But no headlights appeared. No engine rumble. Just the endless night stretching out around me, swallowing my hope inch by inch. My phone battery dipped to 8%. I typed out a reply with shaky hands. I didn't mean to make you feel stupid. I was just telling a story. Everyone was laughing, including you. I stared at it for a few seconds, then deleted it. Why was I apologizing? I hadn't done anything wrong. But even knowing that, I was still scared. Scared of what would happen if I didn't try to smooth things over. Because Derek didn't do well with silence. He took it as defiance. And defiance always led to punishment. Finally, I typed something shorter. Are you coming back? I sent it and waited. 10 minutes. Nothing. Another 5. Still nothing. I stood up, legs stiff from the cold, and walked back into the gas station. The cashier gave me a side glance, but didn't say anything this time. I walked straight to the tiny coffee area, poured myself half a cup of whatever lukewarm sludge was still left in the machine, and just held it for warmth. My reflection in the glass fridge door caught me off guard. I looked tired, worn out, like someone who hadn't slept well in weeks, which wasn't far from the truth. When I walked back outside again, I sat down near the vending machines this time, sipping the coffee like it might fill the hollow space growing inside me. And then my phone buzzed. Derek, maybe you should figure your own way home. Since you're so independent. I stared at the message for a long time. Independent. That word rang in my ears like a taunt. He'd thrown it in my face so many times before. Whenever I asked for respect. Whenever I wanted something as simple as a real conversation. To him, independent meant I was difficult. Loud. Demanding. Too much. I typed back without thinking. You're really leaving me here? The reply came fast. Derek, actions have consequences, babe. Maybe next time you'll think before trying to make me the butt of a joke. I blinked at the screen, feeling my jaw tighten. The butt of a joke? I had told a funny story about how we once got lost on a hiking trail. Everyone laughed. Even him. I had said it because I thought it was a sweet memory. Apparently, in his mind, it had made him look weak. Everything made him look weak. My phone buzzed one more time. Derek, I'm going to bed. Don't blow up my phone. And then he went offline. No location. No updates. Just gone. My battery was now at 3%. I tried calling a rideshare, but the app crashed before I could confirm it. I opened the Maps app and searched for the nearest town. 22 miles. I didn't even know which direction to start walking. And that's when the panic finally set in. Real, full-bodied panic. The kind that claws up your throat and makes you feel like you're being suffocated from the inside out. I crouched down on the pavement and buried my face in my hands, tears burning hot behind my eyes. I wasn't just stranded. I was trapped in a relationship that felt more like a maze with no exits. The thought of walking down that dark stretch of highway alone was terrifying, but the thought of going back to Derek was worse. Because this wasn't a one-time thing. It was just the most obvious thing. The one he couldn't gaslight his way out of. He'd left me. Abandoned me. On purpose. And even now, even after everything there was a part of me still whispering, maybe you deserved it. That was the scariest thought of all. Because I didn't want to believe that voice. But I couldn't make it shut up either. I don't know how long I sat there. Maybe 10 minutes, maybe an hour. Time felt weird. Slippery. Like it was moving around me while I stayed stuck in one spot. I kept thinking someone would show up, maybe a kind stranger or a passing cop or Derek. Some part of me still believed he might turn around. But no one came. Eventually, I had to make a decision. My phone battery was at 1%, and the moment that screen went dark, I'd be truly alone. No light, no map, no call for help. I checked the gas station again. Still open, but empty now, except for the cashier who looked like he was counting the minutes until his shift ended. I stepped inside one more time. Hey, I said, trying to keep my voice from shaking. Do you happen to know if there's a motel or something nearby? He blinked, shrugged. There's a Super 8 about 3 miles east. That way. He pointed toward the road. I didn't want to walk alone. But it's not, safe to be out there right now. You got someone coming to get you. I hesitated. I could have lied. Said yes. Said my boyfriend was on the way. But I didn't. No, I said. He left. The cashier raised his eyebrows, but didn't say anything. Just kind of nodded in that way people do when they don't want to get involved. Well, he mumbled, I'm off in about 30. If you're still here, I can drop you near the motel. That cool? Relief flooded me so fast I almost cried right there. Yes, thank you. That's more than kind. I sat back down, hugging my purse tight to my chest, and stared at my phone screen until it finally dimmed and died. Then it was just me, the cold, and the buzz of fluorescent lights overhead. I kept my head down, kept my thoughts small. Every time I tried to think past the moment, past just getting to that motel, my stomach twisted. Because what was I supposed to do after that? I couldn't go home. Our apartment had his name on the lease. My name was only on the Wi-Fi bill. I had no family nearby, no car, no savings. He said we didn't need a joint account, and I'd let it go like so many other things. He liked it that way. He liked that I needed him more than he needed me. And now I was starting to understand why. The cashier was true to his word. At 2:01 a.m., he grabbed his jacket, tossed me a look, and said, "Ready?" I nodded. Wordlessly followed him outside. His car smelled like fast food and stale energy drinks, but it was warm. Safe. Kind of. "You sure you're good?" he asked as we pulled onto the road. "I will be," I said. I hoped it was true. He dropped me off at the Super 8, and I used the emergency credit card my mom had given me 2 Christmases ago, the one I was never supposed to use unless it's life or death. I figured this counted. The room was dingy, smelled faintly of mildew, and the sheets had that scratchy texture only cheap motels seem to master, but I didn't care. I locked the door, bolted it, pushed the chair against the knob just in case, and collapsed onto the bed. And for the first time in a very long time, I cried without holding back. Not the kind of tears I shed in the bathroom when Derek said something cutting and then kissed my forehead like nothing happened. Not the quiet sobs into my pillow at night while he scrolled through Instagram in bed beside me. These were loud, full-body sobs that made my chest ache and my head pound. Because I wasn't just crying for what he did tonight. I was crying for every moment I ignored my gut, every friend I stopped calling, every piece of myself I handed over little by little until I didn't even recognize the girl staring back in the mirror anymore. I cried until I couldn't breathe. And then I just lay there, staring at the ceiling, asking myself the one question I couldn't answer. What now? The next morning hit me like a slap. I woke up still in my clothes, face sticky from dried tears, hair tangled, mascara smeared. The motel room felt colder than before, emptier somehow, like it had absorbed all the pain I'd poured into it overnight. I sat up slowly, blinking at the harsh morning light, pushing through the flimsy curtains. My body was stiff, sore, like I'd been in a car crash, even though nothing had physically happened to me. I guess emotional wreckage could feel just as real. The panic came next. I had no plan. No place to go. I stared at my dead phone on the nightstand like it was a ticking bomb. So I did the only thing I could. I plugged it into the cheap motel charger, waited for it to light up, and then stared at the screen in silence while it booted. 3 missed calls. All from Derek. My stomach twisted. He hadn't called last night. Not when I needed him. Not when I was walking the cold pavement, or sitting on that filthy gas station bench, or when I was begging the universe for anything. But now. Now he wanted to talk? I didn't listen to the voicemails. I just stared at them. Then a text came through. "Can we talk? I'm outside your building." A chill went through me. He didn't know I wasn't home. He thought I somehow got back. My first instinct was fear. What if he came looking for me? What if he waited there for hours? Then I remembered. I had nothing at that apartment. Nothing except some clothes and a half-dead plant on the windowsill. I was disposable to him. Just a body he could love when it was convenient and abandon when it wasn't. I blocked his number. It felt good, powerful even, but it didn't fix anything. I was still alone in a motel off the highway, with nowhere to go and no clue what to do next. I scrolled through my contacts, hovering over names I hadn't seen in months. Friends I'd ghosted because Derek didn't like them. Family I hadn't called since Christmas. My thumb lingered over my sister's name, Jade. We used to be close. She was the only one who ever had the guts to say, "I don't like him." And I hadn't spoken to her since I moved in with him. But I called. The phone rang once. Twice. Then, "Hello." Her voice groggy. Confused. I almost hung up. "Jade, it's me." Silence. Then carefully, "Are you okay?" And that's when the tears came again, uninvited. Quiet this time. Just leaking from the corners of my eyes like I didn't have the strength to stop them. "No," I whispered. "I'm really not." She didn't ask questions. She just said, "Tell me where you are." "I'm coming." I gave her the motel name and room number, and then I just sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the wall, trying to believe that things might actually change. When she arrived 2 hours later, Still in sweatpants and no makeup, she didn't say I told you so. She just hugged me. Really hugged me. I broke down again in her arms, and she let me. She held me like a lifeline, and I realized just how starved I was for real affection. Not the kind that came with conditions. Not the kind that followed a string of manipulations and gaslighting. Real love. Jade took me back to her place, this small but cozy apartment filled with warmth and actual joy. She made coffee, let me shower, gave me her clothes. And when I finally felt human again, she sat across from me at her tiny kitchen table and asked me the one thing I'd been avoiding. What are you going to do? I stared into my cup like it held the answers, but all I saw was swirling cream and reflections of choices I didn't know how to make. I don't know, I said. And that was the truth. Because part of me still missed him. Still loved the version of him that used to kiss my forehead and tell me I was his whole world. Still clung to the hope that maybe it could go back to how it was. But the other part of me, the part that sat on a cold gas station bench at 1 a.m., knew better. I had been humiliated, abandoned, stripped of dignity and left to figure it out alone. And yet, there was still a piece of me whispering, maybe it was just a mistake. I hated that voice, but it was there, quiet and persistent. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know who I was without him. And I didn't know if I was strong enough to find out. I didn't sleep much at Jade's place. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw headlights, the neon glow of that gas station sign, the way Derek's taillights disappeared into the dark. Over and over again, I relived it the moment he left me, the moment he decided I wasn't worth taking home. I tried to be strong. I told Jade I was okay, that I just needed a few days to clear my head, to breathe again. I told her I was making a list of what came next, apartment hunting, job applications, maybe therapy. But the truth? I wasn't doing anything. I was just sitting there day after day, in her guest room, clutching my phone like it held some kind of miracle, waiting for something. Maybe an apology. Maybe a message. Maybe for the past to make sense in a way it never would. And then one night, I did something really, really stupid. I unblocked him. The moment I did, messages flooded in. Not new ones, old ones. All the things he'd said in the hours after leaving me. Most of them were short. You embarrassed me. I needed space. Why would you make a scene like that? But one near the bottom stopped me cold. You think anyone else would put up with you? That one shattered me. It wasn't loud. It didn't scream or insult me with curse words. But it cut deeper than anything else ever had. Because for a long time, I believed that. He made me believe it. That I was too emotional. Too dramatic. Too sensitive. Too much. And that maybe I was lucky to have him. Even if he left me behind. I stared at that text until my vision blurred. Until the whole screen looked like a watercolor of broken words and self-hate. Then I dropped the phone and screamed. Not just cried. Screamed. A deep, guttural, cracked-open scream that clawed its way out of my chest like something had finally broken free. Jade came rushing in, eyes wide. But I couldn't explain it. I couldn't breathe. The room felt too small. My skin itched. My heart pounded so loud I thought I might pass out. I can't do this, I choked out. I can't. I don't know who I am anymore. She didn't say anything. She just sat down beside me on the floor, her arm around my shoulders while I rocked back and forth like a child. I cried so hard I couldn't see straight. My face soaked, my voice hoarse. Was I really that awful? I asked her. No, she whispered. But he made you think you were. I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to. But that voice was still in me. His voice. Saying no one else would ever want me. No one else would ever deal with my moods. My trauma. My anxiety. My silence and my overthinking. That he was doing me a favor. I curled in on myself. Everything felt like static. My future, my past, my identity. It all blurred into this unbearable noise I couldn't sort through. And the worst part? I still missed him. Even after everything. Even after the gas station. Even after that text. Some part of me was still tethered to the idea of him. Of us. Of what we used to be. What if I never got over it? What if I left, and it got worse? What if I stayed, and it never got better? I had no answers. No clarity. Just 1,000 jagged pieces of a girl who used to know who she was, and now didn't even recognize her own reflection. And in that moment, sitting on the floor of my sister's apartment, wrapped in an old blanket and grief, I realized something I had never said out loud before. I don't know what to do. And for once, that wasn't a cry for help. It was the truth. Raw. Honest. Unbearable. I didn't know if I should give him another chance. I didn't know if I should cut him off forever. I didn't know if I was strong enough to build something new. All I knew was this. He left me. And I'm still trying to figure out how to come back from that.